It's time for the State of Pro Wrestling, scheduled for one fall with a 60-minute time limit. And now, from parts unknown, your tag team champions of the world, John Orlando from the PVD Cast and Gerald Glassford from the Pop Culture Cosmos. Ding, ding, ding. And we're back with another episode of the State of Pro Wrestling. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here for the Inside Sports Fantasy Football, Lakers Fast Break, Game Source, and of course, also as well, Lakers Latest, my newest channel that I'm working with the Fan Arc Network, and of course, the Lakers Fast Break, and of course, Pop Culture Cosmos. Truly appreciate you joining us. Make sure you like and subscribe to not only all my stuff, that's all my channels, all my places where I'm at, but also my tag team partners. Indeed, my tag team partner, he has a lot of great stuff that you got to go ahead and check out. It is, of course, the man behind the PVD Cast, at pvdcast.com, or wherever you get your podcasts, and of course, also Matt Talk as well. It is, of course, John Orlando. John, my tag team partner, we're not jobbers. We're not low to mid-card podcasters. We are main event drawing. Yes, people drawing in. They come in to see us. We are at the top of the card when it comes to pro wrestling podcasts, my friend.
What is it that Dusty Rhodes said? We put butts in seats every 18 inches.
And what is it that Tony Schiavone said that when Mick Foley won the world title and didn't want to give people to go over and switch overhand, so he announced the results right away because Eric Bischoff was feeding it to him. Yeah, that'll put butts in the seats, and it did. It puts 700, close to 1 million viewers, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. 800,000 viewers immediately switched to the other channel, and there you go.
We don't want you switching to another podcast.
No. That was not my inference at all. Yes. Please correct myself, Gerald. There you go. Yes, absolutely indeed. We want you to stay right here because we got a great hour of wrestling talk coming at you. We're going to be talking about a lot of good things, including our Royal Rumble predictions. Triple H, Hunty is talking about some surprises in store. Will they be yay surprises or will they be surprises? We're going to go ahead and talk about that. Plus also as well, AEW at a crossroads. We're going to be talking about what they're doing right now at MJF, the arguments that are going on in the wrestling world, especially with the Wrestling Observer and all that, as far as those guys going back at each other in regards to how the AEW wrestlers are being booked. We're going to go ahead and talk about that. The uncertainty of the future for AEW with the WB and Netflix deal. Hopefully we can get that to it as well. And who is the biggest wrestling draw on the planet? We have an interesting thought, and I wanted to run it by John Orlando on today's show as well. So great to have you here. This weekend, as we're recording it, the WWE crew are once again heading on their way to Saudi Arabia, this time for the Royal Rumble, because a lot of future events will be coming from Saudi Arabia. And this weekend is, of course, the Royal Rumble, one of the premier events and basically the kickoff to WrestleMania season, my friend. And I will say this comes off the heels of probably, well, at least in my opinion, and I've seen quite a few of them, probably the best ever Saturday night's main event. I want, if you guys can tell me out there, if you guys can share thoughts on a better overall quality from beginning to end Saturday night's main event, I'd like you to tell me what that is, because I don't think you'll find one. I think you'll find about match or two that's probably not up to par with what we saw this past weekend. But with that, my friend, they're heading to Saudi Arabia. We need to talk about what's going to go on that card. Your thoughts, my friend, first off, on the Royal Rumble, before we get into heavy predictions on who might be there and who might win.
The Royal Rumble is my second favorite PLE. Mania is number one, Royal Rumble is number two, because I think it's a unique concept, one that hasn't gotten stale. Okay. If anything, it has expanded some. We now have a woman's Royal Rumble, which is great. They've tinkered around. I know a few years ago they had 40 people in the Royal Rumble. Now they're back to 30. I think that the Royal Rumble is exciting because you don't know what's going to happen. There's always the surprises. Sometimes it's WWE legends that come back for a spot. Sometimes it's people being called up from NXT. It's an exciting event, and I'm looking forward to it. And I'm just going to be honest and just put this out there right out of the gates. I have not watched a Saudi pay-per-view or PLE, excuse me. It's not because of politics or anything along those lines. It's just that all of those cards did not excite me. This one excites me, so I will watch. But the other ones, Crown Jewels, time and time again, and then they have the greatest Royal Rumble of all time. Those didn't excite me. Those didn't interest me. That's why I didn't watch them. But as I said just a few moments ago, I'm excited for this. I can't wait to see what they do in Saudi Arabia. I can't wait. I have some great predictions I want to get to a little bit later on. And I'm excited to see if those come true, because I think I have one that's probably pretty ironclad that it's going to happen. So
interesting indeed. So let's go ahead and talk about that as far as the match itself is concerned. Not the Royal Rumble match yet. I want to go ahead and leave out for a second, but let's talk about the card itself. As of now, again, they're still formulating probably some last minute stuff. As far as entrants are concerned, we don't know all the entrants of both the men and the women's side outside the surprises as well, but they'll be formulating that, I'm sure, on Friday Night SmackDown. But I did want to go ahead and talk about what is on the plate as far as the championship matches and also the regular matches that are on there. Starting off with the possible end to a great career of AJ Styles. Well, okay, it's okay. Actually, Shinsuke Nakamura already kind of blurted it out on social media, but and the fact that WWE is like playing every retrospective video on AJ Styles on YouTube for the past week, I think it's pretty much a done deal that AJ Styles is having his last match this weekend. Okay, I'm sorry, his supposed retire match, because no one ever retires really in pro wrestling. Yes, against Gunther this weekend at the Royal Rumble. By the way, hello, CJ. Great to have you here, my friend. Hopefully all is well with you. So with that, my friend, we'll start off with that. I think it's pretty much a done deal that AJ Styles, because, I guess they're pushing the career killer gimmick that they once pushed on Randy Orton. Now they're pushing it on Gunther going forward. Your thoughts on Gunther and AJ Styles, my friend?
I think it sucks that AJ Styles doesn't get kind of what Cena got, which was kind of this goodbye tour. It just seems like they've talked about it, a couple months ago in November or whatnot. And now here it's January and we're going to do the deal. I think all indications point to the fact that Gunther is going to beat AJ Styles. And the only thing that I could think that could maybe save this abysmal storyline is if there's some type of weird wackiness. Maybe there's a DQ is what I'm thinking, and then so therefore maybe on Raw, Gunther comes out and says, I want a clean victory. I want to submit AJ Styles. So that doesn't count. Or Adam Pearce comes out and says, because of some outside interference or whatever, that doesn't count. Those are the only two ways I think you could get yourself out of this situation. I think they've booked themselves into a corner. I'm not 100% sure of how AJ Styles feels about this, or if he said anything in the press about it, but this just seems like such a rush job for this match.
It could have been held off for maybe a WrestleMania or something like that, but obviously there's a continuous through line for what Gunther has to go ahead and put through as far as wrestlers in their 50s now, or closing in on their 50s, that he can put away. I mean, there's the Hardys, R-Truth. There's actually quite a list of players that he can go ahead and do, because now he's got Goldberg and now he's got John Cena. and he'll have most likely AJ Styles on that list. It's actually doing that career killing gimmick is probably going to be a good one for him, at least for a little while going forward.
And I really liked the interview that they did with Michael Cole and Gunther. And I thought his comments about like your time is coming up, Michael Cole. I should kick that chair out from underneath you and end your career. Like I like that because it was number one, it was done very, very well, very serious in its tone. And number two, I don't know. I just think that that's something we haven't seen. We haven't seen a commentator or an official be threatened by Gunther, and I think that that adds a little more nastiness to his character. I'm a big fan of Gunther. I just don't think this is the way to end AJ Styles' career. That's my only gripe. Is I agree with you. Why can't we hold this off till WrestleMania?
Well, I guess they wanted to leave it for this one, and they've got some bigger plans at WrestleMania, and maybe AJ Styles has just said, "I'm done, so I'm good." Again, we don't know also his contract, what that lays itself out as. So,
Mm-hmm.
maybe his contract ends like in February. I'll give that as examples. I don't know when he signed or his extension or whatnot. So, a lot of things have to go into it. It's not just the booking of end of it. It's just maybe AJ Styles has also behind the scenes said, you know what, I'm close to being done. I think I'm heading on out. I've earned my money. I think I'm heading on out. So we'll see if that's the
Mm-hmm.
case. But again, it is Gunther versus AJ Styles. We'll see if he does retire AJ Styles, which again, all signs are pointing to that. Wanted to go ahead and also mention as well, of course, the other matches that are on the card as of now for the championship, as far as the undisputed WWE championship. Again, I can't. If there's two world titles in a company, how can it really be undisputed? But okay, all right. Drew McIntyre versus Sami Zayn. Um, Sami Zayn, I think, should have been given the title when he had that PLE against Roman Reigns, where he was over huge in Canada that one time that he was leading I think it was a February PLE. I think it was Elimination Chamber. I think 2 years ago. I think if my memory serves, and it was him versus Roman Reigns. I could be wrong on this, guys. Please correct me in the comments if I am. But he had in Canada, and he was absolutely over huge, and they didn't pull the trigger then, and I don't think they're going to do it now. I don't know why they would do it now, because Sami Zayn has been like back to the mid card, and now you want to elevate him based off of a four-way number one contendership. Right now, it's all about establishing Drew McIntyre. He got the title back. His character's been pretty good, somewhat fresh. This is his first non-COVID run, I believe, as with the title, if I'm not mistaken. So, your thoughts on Drew McIntyre and Sami Zayn?
First of all, Drew McIntyre, his current run is exquisite. I
Yes.
mean, his character work is fantastic. He
Yes.
has done just so much to elevate himself, and he's deserved of that title reign. Which
Agreed.
what that happened what, about 3 weeks ago on Raw?
Yes. Or was
Okay.
it Smack? It was a Smack. No, SmackDown in the three terror. Yeah, it was SmackDown on the three things of doom,
Yeah,
three
yeah, yeah,
layers
yeah,
of
yeah.
hell match. Yes, yes.
Yes. Okay. So
Which actually was a really good match in and of itself. I kind of liked it. So
I don't think that Sami Zayn's got that oomph behind him. You're right, Gerald. We talked about it on this very show that they dropped the ball when it came to him,
mhm.
and now is not the time to put the title on. Like, I don't understand why Randy Orton didn't win that match, because I think Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre is a better match for the Royal Rumble. It has more sparkle to it, more razzle dazzle, whatever you want to say. I think it would have been a much better match than this one. I
I
feel
agree with you. Well, technically, I don't. I think at this stage of Randy Orton's career, I think that Sami Zayn is the better technical match out of it, as far as if you're looking for star counts. But remember, we live in an age where we don't have to. They don't have to draw PLEs, PPV numbers anymore.
no, that's true.
So you don't. I mean, if this is AEW, we would be loudly questioning what's going on, because they still live off of their 150,000 pay-per-view numbers when they do them. But with this in WWE, they can literally put anything out there, as far as any decent quality. And this is decent quality. But like you said, you're right. Sami Zayn has no longer been elevated to that point where you could even possibly think that he could be getting the title this weekend.
I think Drew goes over clean. That's how
Yeah.
little I think that they uh think of Sami Zayn. And it's sad because he is a good wrestler. He is
Yes.
good at what he does. But they just, I don't know, they dropped the ball all what, 2 or 3 years ago with Roman Reigns.
You and I
And
talked about it then. We really thought they should do a short term. LA Knight and Sami Zayn should have had short term runs. They were both sizzling hot for a period of time, and you've got to go ahead and pull the trigger when that happens. I'm not asking for long term deals with them, but I think they should have pulled the trigger. But again, they didn't.
well, after this match, where do you put Drew McIntyre? Is my question, Gerald. Do you put him back in a program with Cody Rhodes? Do you elevate somebody else, like, I don't know, Obafemi, for an example, or somebody
I
that
think Obafemi that they're going to wait on. Quite honestly, they're going to grow him to a WWE. Remember, NXT to a WWE audience. They somehow think that's a different audience. So he'll probably be elevated slowly. But Obafemi, by this time next year, you better consider him and as one of those stars that's there. I think he's got a lot to work with there as far as is concerned. But like Braun Steiner, Braun Breaker, he's there. He's there. He's got all the tools, and I think that Obafemi's got a really great career ahead of him.
Mhm,
When it comes to what we're seeing at WrestleMania, I think we're going to see a three-way. I think it's been because they had it. I think it was going to be Cody Roman. I think if the inside rumors and reports were true, but they've changed that to looking more and more like it's going to be a three-way between Jacob Fatu, also as well, who is deserving of a spot because I
mhm.
think he's a guy that they should put in that main event mix. I didn't say give him the title, but I just said main event mix. Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre.
Well, that would be an interesting three-way dance. Again, I'm also a big fan of Jacob Fatu as well. I feel like his character is someone that like. I wouldn't want to run into him in a dark alley. Like he breeds that kind of, like, I will jack you up type of attitude and character. So I'm a big fan of him. I just, I don't know, those three in a three-way match. I don't know. Sometimes that's not the best solution. You know what I mean?
They love those. They love those three ways in this era of wrestling. They love those three ways.
Mm,
You and I both know this. They love those three ways and sometimes four ways as well. So
mhm,
we will wait and see on that. And so now we get to, I guess, because in a Bruce Pritchard world where he has suddenly been weaned on the fact that, according to his statements, that it's best to just have a 4 or 5 match card on the card. So again, those are his statements.
mhm.
Paraphrasing here, but 4 matches, I guess, does a great deal for him. In this case, I can understand why, because the Royal Rumbles are an hour long
Mhm.
each. So yeah, no problem on that. Okay, and it did work for Saturday Night's main event. I will give him that. It's just that sometimes other places where you need to run more matches, you need to run more matches. But I will give him as far as this upcoming weekend with the Royal Rumble. So we'll start with the ladies. Ladies first, my friend. As of now, or as of this recording, Io Sky, Rhea Ripley, Roxanne Perez, Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, Bailey, Lyra Valkyria, Asuka, Chelsea Green, Jordan Grace, Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, Nia Jax, Lash Legend, Gilia, and 15 more to be announced. Superstars. Um, I could also say pretty much Kyrie Sane has also said I'm going to win it. I'm going to make sure Asuka wins it. So when you say I'm going to make sure Asuka wins it, I think that means you're going in the Rumble yourself. So her character. But be that as it may, your thoughts on the women's Royal Rumble, my friend?
Well, I think that it's going to be kind
Actually,
of
I'll
a.
tell you what. Wait.
Go ahead.
Let's make a favorite. Make who you want, who you think is going to win, and a long shot. Let's make it interesting. Is that okay?
Okay,
Is
yeah.
that
What were those again? A long shot.
a long shot, a favorite, and your pick?
So when you say favorite, that would be the favorite of the fans.
No, the favorite of what you think the booking. That's like, let's say
Uh,
odds here in Vegas, because they're actually you can bet on this around the world as far as the Royal Rumble is concerned. There are betting odds already out there, my friend.
okay.
So if you were placing betting odds, if you ran a international casino, offshore casino, and you wanted to go ahead for your app and say, okay, let's lay the odds out. Who is the favorite you think? And not your pick, or could be your pick, but who is the favorite for heading into the Royal Rumble?
I'm gonna go Charlotte Flair.
Okay, Charlotte Flair would be the highest money on the books for you. Okay,
Yeah, that's what I would
that's
go with.
always. I mean, she's won it before. That's a very
Mhm.
solid choice for a favorite. If you were picking it, as far as if you were the Booker man, who do you think should win the Royal Rumble and why?
My pick is going to be Jordan Grace because
Really?
I think that they're gearing up for that Jade Cargill versus Jordan Grace, and I
They
think
are.
it's the battle of the Titans. It's Hogan and Andre, two giant, muscular wrestling goddesses that are going to face one on one to see who's the best. And I think that Jordan Grace can carry Jade through a match.
I will say this first off. She's not. I mean, I'm not. She's not that tall when they stood next to each other. So it's not Hogan Andre by any stretch of it. And you know this when they stood next to each other last week. Um, Second is, I am so sad that they jobbed out Chelsea Green, your U.S. champion, who is and okay, I don't know how much you take in as far as reality, what Unreal is, the WWE series. I don't know if you think that's legit or not legit about how Michael Hayes was pooping on Chelsea Green as far as not literally, mind you guys. I'm sorry, that's a WWE joke. Um, he was lambasting Chelsea Green and saying she doesn't have it, whatnot, blah 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 blah. I don't believe what I see when it comes to Unreal. I just think it's a work beyond the work beyond the work. Okay, when I talk about when we see Unreal, I could still say though, when you job her out in 5 minutes roughly to Jade Cargill, I still think that's very very bad. I understand that she's happy to be there. She'll do whatever you need to do. She's had a long career and she wants to go ahead and just continue and just make whatever money she can there, and she's willing to do whatever. This girl has the fans behind her, even though she's supposed to be a heel. You heard the chants for her in that match against Jade Cargill, and it's just sad to see that they just don't realize it. They don't want to put. It's got the LA Knight syndrome where they just don't. No matter how many fans he got behind him, in her case, she's a heel. She's got fans behind him. They just don't want to push you. So, but after the match, they pushed to a match which I don't think as many people are clamoring for, with all due respect to you, John, and that is Jordan Grace and Jade Cargill, because both aren't the best on the mic. They both the WWE does needs to do something to inject some enthusiasm into this matchup, because I'm just not sure where it is, but I agree with you. They are heading to a matchup, whether it's in February or in WrestleMania, where they're having a match together at some highlighted show.
Well, I think this personally, we'll get into why I say this here in a minute. I personally think that they should relegate that match to February in Elimination Chamber because, and this is just real quickly off to the side. You asked me when we were talking about how I would book WrestleMania. It's very simple. I would book WrestleMania without paying attention to Elimination Chamber and just work on slow builds for these great feuds that culminate in April. But as we know, that's not going to happen. They are hell bent on doing Elimination Chamber, even though every year somebody gets injured, they have to rewrite WrestleMania. Even though no one cares, like I don't know anybody of my friends going, "Gosh, I can't wait to see Elimination Chamber." No, no one says that. No one. We all say we can't wait for WrestleMania, the Survivor Series, SummerSlam, even Money in the Bank. But no one likes Elimination Chamber. So I don't know why we're still doing it. Well, the money is why we're still doing
You know, you and I both know why they're still doing it. Back up that Brinks truck, baby. But be that as it may, okay, that was my. I just don't think that those two together, because Jade Cargill's not great on the mic and Jordan Grace is not great on the mic. Let's just be honest with it. So it's hard to create that enthusiasm. You have to just realize those two ladies are very powerfully built, and that's the match you want to see because those two ladies are very powerfully built. And I'll just leave that. So we talked about your the favorite for you, and also as well the your pick as far as I'm concerned. Who is your dark horse? Who is someone that is maybe out of left field that like the long betting odds that you think what I could see them winning just to shake things up.
Roxanne Perez.
Yeah, she has gotten a good favor as of late.
Yeah.
If you read the reports, she has been talked about quite a bit. It's interesting, although, because she's still in the mix of the Judgment Day. She's still considered the third of the three wheels on that one. Many people still talk about Liv Morgan getting the push and push hard on that. So, but Roxanne Perez, I think, really has done a lot of good work, and I think people, I think WWE, if they don't decide to do anything with her right away, it's because she's young. Yeah. So they got plenty of time. They got plenty of time to go ahead and push her. And yeah, the thing is, though, as she gets older and older, how much longer can they use that excuse for her on that? So again, I think she's done some really good work. And I think, that's a really good surprise. For me, I'm going to make mine quick here. I'll go ahead. The betting favorite for the Women's Royals Rumble, I would probably put as Rhea Ripley as far as the betting favorite for me, as far as the concern, because even though she's part of the tag team champions, I think that probably money wise she would probably be the most solid bet as far as possibly winning, in case they want to go ahead and see, they see where the women's division is at, and they say, you know what, we need to take a right turn and we need to put Rhea back into that world title mix, because I think at some point in time they're going to have to put Rhea Ripley in that world title mix, because I see some softness in the divisions on both the Monday and Friday night shows. I saw their tag team division really get elevated with the Kabuki Warriors, Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss, and also Rhea Ripley and Io Sky. Really, and then also Nia Jackson, Lash Legend. It really created a nice heavy mix for the women's tag team division. But some of those ladies, seeing how it's kind of weakened the singles roster, are going to have to go ahead and possibly move someone back into that. And Rhea Ripley might be that case as far as the favorite is concerned. Who do I think is going to win? I'm going to say Liv Morgan. Morgan, because again, if the reports hold true that Liv Morgan is someone they want to push back again to the top of the card, that's probably going to start with her facing off against either champion at WrestleMania. Who I would pick as a dark horse? People say, I know that, Asuka is someone I always talked about. And, the fact that she's going to have supposedly Kairi Sane working for her, which maybe could lead to a double cross as far as is concerned. We will see if that happens. But I want to say, as a dark horse, I just talked about her, Chelsea Green. If this was in America or Canada and she somehow amazingly won, there would be a huge pop. I don't know what the pop will be. I don't know what the pop for any of these individuals will be in Saudi Arabia,
Mhm.
but I could tell you Chelsea Green, if she won like a screwy heel fashion, of like a Hogan Sid Vicious uh way where Hogan pulls Sid Vicious out there like that, and suddenly Ric Flair just like, yeah, I get the win. You know, if that happens, I think that place would erupt.
Mhm.
I just don't know if it'll erupt in Saudi Arabia. I don't know the reaction to that, but Chelsea Green is someone that I think that again, I think the fans are behind her. It's just the question is the office behind her. So yeah, that's my dark horse there, my friend. So there you go.
All right.
Well, there you go. There's the women's Royal Rumble. Once again, it is John Orlando from the PVD cast. It's along with me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for watching. This is State of Pro Wrestling. We're a half hour down. Going to go ahead and get into the preview of the men's Royal Rumble. And the men's Royal Rumble has a lot of candidates and some surprises supposedly coming in both the men's and women's Royal Rumble. But as of now, Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, Gunther, Jey Uso, Rey Mysterio, Jacob Fatu, Solo Sikoa, Dragon Lee, Penta, and I guess quite a few more superstars will be named as far as that's concerned. So your thoughts on the men's Royal Rumble? A favorite, your pick, and a dark horse as far as it's concerned.
I think the favorite's pretty self-explanatory. I think
Not
Cody
favorites,
Rhodes.
favorite. Who if you had
Favorite.
favorite, if you had 20
Okay.
bucks to put down on one player as the favorite, or give the guy the best odds of winning right now, what would that be?
That would be Cody Rhodes.
Okay.
I think that it would not be much like Charlotte Flair. It would not be a shock to see him win. I think that he is the odds-on favorite.
Okay. Now, if you were booking, my friend, the Royal Rumble, men's Royal Rumble, who would that be?
Braun Breaker. And it's going to tie into a surprise because just hear me out for a minute. I think that we see Braun Breaker win. He's celebrating in the ring. Burn It Down comes across the loudspeaker. Seth Rollins is there. Security's holding him back. Aldis Pierce are there holding him back. You can't do this. You're not medically cleared. And then for the next couple of weeks, we play that whole, you're not medically cleared. You're not supposed to be here. You have to leave the arena. That type of thing. By then, maybe we could get into March. Maybe he's healed up a little bit more. Then we can maybe do a couple of tag matches, all leading to Breaker versus Rollins at WrestleMania.
Oh, he looks right now he could swing a chair and do a foot stomp. And so you don't have to get in the ring to do that. You could be cleared enough to go ahead and do that kind of activity. And he could be able to do that right now. Because you've seen he's all over the interview circuit right now. So yeah, he seems to be fine right there. JSJ says the arena as far as the Royal Rumble arena, that was specifically built in Saudi Arabia. Looks like giant bleachers. Yeah, it I saw the video of it, and and I know that there are a lot of questions about how it was built and all that. It's kind of where's the bathrooms and the locker rooms? Yeah, exactly. I'm sure they got that figured out, JSJ, but we're not on the ground there covering it. But I would love to be covering a Royal Rumble at some point in time in the future. But yes, you were right. Absolutely. Where are those bathrooms? That's just the first thing. I'm going to the stadium. Where are those dang bathrooms? But we talked about, John, your favorite and your pick for the Royal Rumble. Who is your dark horse?
I don't know if this individual is going to be in the Royal Rumble. I think odds are he probably is, but I'd say Matt Cardona is the long shot.
Wow. All right, my friend. That is a long shot indeed. Especially because there's going to be a lot of low betting odds. Right now, the odds are out already on the Royal Rumble, and there's a lot of low betting odds. So I will go ahead and say right now, for me, the favorite is tough. That's the toughest thing, because if you're in Vegas betting, Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, Gunther, they're all in play for money wise. Who might get as far as the top, as far as the food chain on that. I would say the favorite right now of the three, I'm going to go a little bit different, although Cody Rhodes is right there. We're probably talking about 2-1, 3-1, like very low money for those guys. I'm going to say Roman Reigns is the favorite. Who would I pick? Gunther, because he's going to
Oh,
retire. He's going to retire AJ Styles, and going on into a match, Gunther going into a world title match at WrestleMania. I think, coming off the and career ending of AJ Styles, he may even end one more career along the way before that happens. Just to reiterate it, I think that would probably be that would get him a lot of momentum towards WrestleMania. Indeed, JSJ, that's a great question. I'll answer that in just a sec. As far as a long shot, that is a great question. I am probably going to say Chris Jericho. There you go.
oh,
Yes, that is a long shot, everyone, because he is expected to be coming back to WWE anytime, and major speculation is right there. Although Braun Breaker, he is probably right. Okay, you get that first tier of favorites. He is right there, right on 5, 7, maybe 10 to 1 odds. He is right there as well. So don't underestimate Braun Breaker as well as far as him winning it. I will not be surprised at all. But if you want to say a big surprise, one of the surprises at the Royal Rumble, Chris Jericho, indeed. Uh, JSJ says, what would be the worst case scenario? So before we get into the rest of the show, my friend, and we close on out the predictions and as far as the Royal Rumble, what would be the worst case scenario for me? What would be the Chelsea Green getting destroyed by Jade Cargill in a matter of minutes, and basically just kind of try almost like trying to destroy her character by The Office? What is the worst case scenario for you on that?
oh. Worst case scenario for me at the Royal Rumble. Wow. You know what? I don't know. How about you tell me yours, and then maybe that'll help me to figure mine out.
We just talked about Obafemi JSJ earlier. That's a good choice on the dark horse, by the way. Really, really good choice. Yeah, he's a surprise, but I don't know if he's familiar enough with the. Remember, they still treat, like I was saying earlier, they still treat the NXT fans and the WWE fans differently. So they don't know if Obafemi is familiar to all the WWE fans. So I think there's still a familiarization piece, but I think he will come in there. When he comes in there, he's going to destroy. He's going to do the Undertaker or Braun Strowman, or he's going to eliminate like 10 people, is my estimation on that before he gets eliminated. But the worst case scenario would probably be, who are the fans really cool on right now, in your opinion?
Oh, okay. I'm gonna say that I think the fans are really cooled down for the Judgment Day.
Okay.
I think the
All right.
Judgment Day. JD McDonough, Finn Balor. I don't know. Is Carlito around, or I think he's gone.
Carlito's gone. Carlito's
Yeah,
gone.
Dominic. I think that's cooling off. So I think that if one of them won the Royal
I
Rumble,
think
you
if
get a
Dominic still won, he would get a lot of heat because
yeah.
he's kind of distancing himself from Judgment Day. But if Finn Balor won, I think people would just go be like, or even if he comes out as the Demon, because I guess he can't come out as Finn Balor. They've already been told that Finn Balor was already told he's not in the Royal Rumble, so that means the Demon has to come out in the Royal Rumble. So that I think, you know what I think? I think the worst case scenario would be if Cody Rhodes won.
Oh,
And
why is that?
I say this because the fact that he is needs to come, he needs a challenge, and he doesn't have that challenge yet as far as it's concerned. He hasn't been fully established with him, Jacob Fatu, as far as that's concerned. That I really think that those two will probably eliminate each other. And I just think if Cody Rhodes wins, it's just too, it's like the Roman Reigns syndrome when he was doing winning
Mhm.
and everything, like in the late teens. You got to be careful and protect Cody Rhodes so that he still, of him vying for the title, feels fresh and it feels exciting, and people won't poo-poo on it if he does eventually win the title. And I'll just leave it at that, if that makes any sense. I
No,
just
that
wanted
makes
to,
perfect sense.
he seems like a great guy. He's really worked hard, promoting but again, the fan base these days, if they just see something over and over, they kind of get poo-poo on it, even if it's might be the best thing for, what all parties concerned. It's still, I just don't want him to, I think he has put too much work in to get poo-pooed on, so you try to prevent that. And I don't think that him winning, even though he is one of the favorites, and I wouldn't be surprised if he won, it would still probably not be in the company's best interest. But then again, we've seen this before where the company doesn't put its best interests out there as far as the results is concerned. But there you have it. There's our preview of the Royal Rumble. If you have thoughts, JSJ says Judgment Day better not win. I get actually, if the real dark horse, all kidding aside, with Chris Jericho, I think Dominic Mysterio is a dark horse. Him or LA Knight are dark horses in my books, as far as it's concerned. And I'll leave it at that. JSJ said thoughts on the fan altercation on last Saturday. It happens on, I mean, that's something where you see quite a bit in the older days. What you saw on Saturday, by the way, Saturday night's main event again, it is the best Saturday night's main event I've ever seen, as far as from top to bottom. But I can understand the fan altercation, as far as it's concerned. But I don't want to go back and date myself, but John Orlando, we've seen worse fan altercation. Yeah. Just ask Jim Cornette. Just ask Jim Cornette on fan altercations. And people stabbings, guns, people throwing urine, poop, acid. I've heard all these stories. I've seen interactions, chairs. They have weapons.
Batteries.
Yeah, the batteries are a big thing. Yeah. That's tame, JSJ, by any stretch of the imagination. From what was done before in previous times. But that's a John Orlando road story for another day, my friend. But once again, it is John Orlando for the PVD cast along with me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for watching this. Truly appreciate it. As we wrap up here in the next 20 minutes, what's going on in the world of pro wrestling here. So with that, my friend, we spent a lot of time on the WWE. AEW has been in the news of late. MJF, they're really true transcendent talent. They're only true transcendent talent, in my opinion, and I think it's yours too, because you're shaking your head. Yes, has the world title, but the problem is, how does he stay transcendent? I mean, continue to do movies, yes, that's one way, but as a world champion, he is facing the same crowd that he has always continued to face. They have had an issue elevating individuals to a money drawing, audience drawing stature. I mean, the Darby Allens of the world, the Kyle Fletchers of the world, the great working wrestlers, risk takers, young talents, really feel for them, but they've not elevated to the point where I think Tony Khan could put them out there in a situation with MJF. Well, I mean, I'm sure he will. I'm sure he will put them out in title matches with MJF, but where they can win and they can carry the ball and run with it. Let's put using the old terminology on that. So I guess going back and forth, I guess there's been a lot of divisiveness, especially within the confines of the Wrestling Observer between Brian Alvarez and Dave Meltzer in regarding their conversations with each other about disagreeing stances on AEW elevating wrestlers into that higher level. There seems to be a glass ceiling. Is there a glass ceiling in AEW? Is it just Swerve, Hangman Page, Samoa Joe, and then it's everybody else at this point in time as far as challengers going forward? Is it the same old? Again, these are questions I want to ask, because again, a lot of those answers may understand people, or may help people understand why AEW isn't growing at the rate that it should be growing at this stage of AEW's career.
Well, you hit the nail right on the head. You got Samoa Joe, Hangman Page, Swerve Strickland. We've all seen it. We've seen it with Darby. They've not elevated anybody. I mean, here, this afternoon, I just picked a couple of names of people that I would love to see elevated and used correctly. Josh Alexander, Claudio Castagnoli. Why those two can't be transitioned into a babyface, because they would have to be if they're taking on MJF, and given a run taking on MJF. I'm not saying that they have to win the titles, because I know there'd be people that say, well, Claudio doesn't have a personality, his interview skills are blah, 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 blah. Okay, so what? That doesn't matter. He's a machine when it comes to wrestling, as is Josh Alexander. So try something new, innovate, do something, Tony, other than putting out the same old. And, there's no disrespect to Swerve or Samoa Joe or Hangman Page, although we all agreed on this very show that Page being the champion was not the way to go. I don't know. They just have to build other contenders. And I mean, Brian Cage would be another great one. And I looked him up. He's still under contract, by the way, just side note. So,
But he gets hurt. I couldn't give him the ball because he this at this stage of his life, he's just been hurt way too much, John.
well, that's true. That is true. But
Because I would love
I
to
don't,
bring Wardlow back, but
oh,
Wardlow I couldn't trust because he couldn't stay healthy either.
right. True. That's something to consider. But I mean, I think they're not considering anything interesting or innovative. They're not thinking anything about it. Like, I mean, MJF with Mark Briscoe, okay, that was fine for the short term, but you need to find someone that is going to light the fire under the fans and get them to cheer the babyface and boo MJF. And you know, you talk about injuries, Will Ospreay. That's another reason why I didn't put him down on my list because he is injured quite a bit, unfortunately for him. Yeah, I don't know. They got it right by putting the belt on MJF. I'll give them that. But in the wake of other changes maybe coming down the pike with WB, Discovery, and Netflix, and all of that crazy kind of twists and turns and spider webs that are being constructed there because Netflix only wants certain parts of WBD, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know. AEW is in some trouble if they don't get their stuff correct. I have a feeling that they're not going to go out of business, but they're not going to be hurting for certain.
Good question by JSJ. Will they use the same stadium for WrestleMania 43? Yes, they will use the Legion Stadium. Actually, it's one of the most state of the art stadiums. I didn't exactly like it being built, to be quite honest with you, because the costs of it were a lot of them were put onto the taxpayers and visitors to Las Vegas, which only drives up the price of people visiting here. But now that they built it, it's been incredible. I've been to it several times, as I mentioned on the Lakers Fast Break. Yes, it's the only venue that will seat what 50,000 plus people here in Las Vegas. It is actually the second most profitable or second revenue generating stadium on the entire planet last year. Actually, I think it's past 2 years, but yeah, last year definitely because they couldn't stop advertising it. So it's been a windfall. There's what BTS coming here as well. That's sold out for 4 dates here. There's much major acts coming here all the time to that stadium. The only other place they could put it at is in the Las Vegas Motor Speedway, and I don't think they're going to do it. They put the EDM that gets out at the Speedway. That gets over 100,000 people. They could do that, but that time of the day, that time of the year, you're risking 100-degree weather and people outside in that type of thing. And the Allegiant Stadium is covered, so that yeah, it's a really good stadium. I will give it that. But um, JSJ said, "How about the Royal Rumble arena? Will they use that one for Saudi Mania? I don't know. I don't know if this is a temporary. The Saudi arena is or venue is a permanent or a temporary fixture. I have to look more into that. My guess is no. My guess is they will build something again that's going to uh, exceed what they're doing at Royal Rumble. Your thoughts, John, quickly on that before we get to the
Well,
AEW
one
whatever.
of the questions I was curious about, you kind of mentioned it, was how many people can fit in that stadium for the Royal Rumble. Do you happen to know offhand?
That I don't know. I haven't seen
Okay.
I've only seen the pictures and the video. I do not know a attendance count. I'm assuming it's going to be what 15 to 20,000. I know they mentioned it as far as the ticket prices, which are compared to here extremely cheap. Imagine that as far as the concern. But I think I'm going to roughly say it's 15. I vaguely remember 15 ish thousand on that. So I'm assuming it's going to be about that. It's going to be about that.
Okay.
So I will just say again, I think they're going to establish something larger than that for Saudi Mania coming up next year, and I think they'll do that indeed. But my friend, what I did want to say that again, there is another football stadium here in town. It's the old Silver Bowl, which seats about I think 40,000, but that has been condemned. It's no longer in use. They just haven't decided to tear it down. So be that as it may. So I will say though that right now AEW again in a very different position, obviously still trying to maintain business, but with the possible sale to Netflix, we'll see how that lays itself out. Netflix has pretty much indicated in documents that they don't want any outlying things, which includes AEW. Your thoughts, my friend? If that's the case, that would, I guess, stick with the media partners that are not being part of the sale with the Netflix sale. Your thoughts on AEW if that happens?
Well, as I just said a few moments ago, I think they're going to be hurting for certain. Are they going to go out of business? I don't believe they're going to go out of business, but their bottom line is going to be drastically impacted, I think. But there is a little bit of positive out of that because, as you mentioned it, they consistently on a pay per view get 150,000 buys. So there's an audience there. Can that audience help save AEW by doing some type of its own streaming service like Ring of Honor? That I don't know. I think it's a sticky situation, and AEW's got to be super smart on the business side of things. Which I don't know their business model. I don't know that much. I have a friend who knows all that stuff because he loves those type of numbers and that, but not me. But I think that definitely on the business side of things, it's going to be a treacherous few months for AEW. On the wrestling side of things, they've done everything great in terms of getting MJF back on top. Just build some contenders. That's it.
Because you can only do so much. You cut great promos, but if you can't cut great promos because you don't have anybody to work with that people believe in, then that's going to be a problem. Even he can't work that kind of magic. And I'll just say this. JSJ said, should AEW move to Prime Video fully? That would be an option. Just some platform where it needs to be on a larger scale. JSJ says they need more exposure. Well, I mean, TNT, TBS, those were two of the stalwarts. They are still two of the stalwarts of the cable industry. You know, how many millions, tens of millions home. And this goes back to 2019 over the years. They were once showing in front of over 1 million people on an every week basis. Now that is dwindled down to 400,000 to 500,000 on their main show Dynamite, and their other shows in the 200,000 range. So they have had exposure. They're hugely popular. They are popular in Europe whenever they go there. So I mean, they are, I guess, appreciated in certain parts of the world. It's just the problem is they can't put all the pieces together as well as WWE can. And I think a lot of that has to deal with the booking. I think a lot of the deals as far as the presenting image and as far as from what we've seen as product. Yes, they do have a better work rate in AEW. Absolutely. 10 times over. But what they show with Darby Allin's head being put into a fish tank, when they talk about the, some of the things that they're presenting as far as, the contenders to MJF, well, I mean, again, it's just so many little things add up to a lot as far as the presentation is concerned. Exposure is something that's out there for them. It's just that fact that they just have not been able to do enough with it when they have it. And I'll just leave it at that. But they still have a solid base of fans, 150,000 people buying pay-per-views. That is nothing to sneeze at, and nor will I sneeze at that, my friend. But great question, though, JSJ. Great question. But before we head on out, John, one last thing I wanted to hit you up with. And thank you again. Before we hit you up, I'll make sure you go ahead and let everybody know what you're up to now that you're back in the groove again with the PVD cast and also as well Matt Talk. But before we head on out, who is the biggest drawing card on the planet? I mentioned a name, and I think that name right now in 2026 is the biggest drawing individual on the planet. Your thoughts on if you had to name one individual that is the biggest draw on the planet? Let us know who that is and why.
Oh, you got me on this one. I was prepared for to rebut yours.
Okay, you can rebut mine here in a second. So go ahead.
Or
do you want me to start with mine?
You start with yours. Go ahead.
Mistico, the ex Sin Cara. And, the proof is in the pudding, is that he is the top named talent on the most consistent drawing promotion on the planet right now in CMLL. They have, since the start of the year, gone over 15,000 people for their shows, whether It's Arena Coliseo, Arena Mexico. They have either sold out or gotten over 15,000. Now, I believe it's over double digits, my friend. Double digits. That's over 150,000 people have already seen CMLL action. WWE can't even get that. They can't even claim that because they've gotten a couple, 2, 3, 4, 15,000, there, but they haven't gotten what CMLL does. And I believe right now on this planet, as we speak, Mistico is the biggest draw for his region, for his area, for his community, for the Hispanic speaking community right now on the planet. And that needs to be not underestimated, but needs to be praised as far as his work is concerned.
Okay, all right. He's in the main events in CMLL, and right there, he's in the main event. People are showing up to see him wrestle and do his thing. I can't argue that. I can't argue that. But to put the shoe on the other foot, so to speak, who do I think? Ooh, man, I'm drawing a blank. I don't know. I would like to say Cody Rhodes, but I don't. Again with the WWE, sometimes you have to.
Let me ask you a question. When you talk
Sure.
about the WWE, is it more a person or the company that you're going to see or pay money on to go see at this point?
I think at this point it is the company. I think you're going to see.
When it comes to CMLL, is it the person, Mistico, or is it the company that you're going to see?
I'm going to say it's probably Mistico.
I think that answered the question.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you get no argument from me. I like I said, he's dabbled a little bit in AEW, he's dabbled a little bit in MLW. My only
that match with MJF last year, credit to MJF, is one of the best I saw last year.
Yes, agreed. And my only thing is that if I was Mistico, I would be very leery of being involved in promotions that have a ton of luchadors. Like, for an example, limit your time in AEW because you have, a dozen luchadors who are obviously not as talented as you. So I would say that's the only thing that scares me about him.
Well, if you're him, go back and have a rematch against MJF.
Yeah. Absolutely.
On a pay-per-view. There you go. Mm-hmm. That's when you bring him in. That's when you make a special. We just talked about how MJF has no contenders right now.
There you go. There you go.
Boom. You put it there in Mexico City, or if you put it like even close to San Antonio, Texas, or
El Paso.
El Paso. You put it there in front of that audience. Boom. There you go. We just helped Tony Khan. Do you feel better now, my friend?
I do. I hope Tony appreciates our help.
Braun Breaker and Obafemi, they are. I'm telling you, my friend, those two have greatness all over them as far as both those individuals, but I don't think they're going to put them at the top yet. I still think they're going to give them later this year or next year. I think we could start really talking about them as far as main eventers later this year, Survivor Series, or next year, Royal Rumble. I think that those two guys are both right there at the top. So I think that test for Braun Breaker came as far as when he challenged for the title earlier this month at against CM Punk, and I'll leave it at that. But before we head out, my friend, what's going on at the PVD Cast and also Matt Talk?
Well, the PVD Cast is my own personal podcasting project where I have a lot of great content coming at you. In fact, a little bit later this evening or tonight for the West Coast or for the East Coast folks, I'm going to be dropping a little bit of a different take on the Royal Rumble. Got one half of the Pro Wrestling Pundits coming on to share his thoughts about the Royal Rumble. And of course, we also have Matt Talk, ladies and gentlemen, which unfortunately we do not have a new episode up because with the snow and with the storm that happened this weekend, some of us didn't have internet. My partner didn't have internet, didn't have power because of the snow. So we unfortunately had to postpone it, but it's a episode that's coming up. That's a really good one. And if you're curious as to what Matt Talk is, it's a podcast about Matlock, the old 1990s Andy Griffith show. So it's a great deal of fun. We review an episode, we discuss the episode, we poke fun at it. It's a great time. It's available over at Matt Talk Podcast over on Facebook, and the feeds are available through all kinds of outlets on YouTube, Twitch, etc., etc. Just Google Matt Talk, and you should be able to find it.
Absolutely, indeed. Shout out to Jason Taylor on Facebook. Shout out to everybody who stayed with us for the entire show. Shout out to you, JSJ. Answered some great questions. And yeah, you're asking really, really some great questions out there. Once again, it is the State of Pro Wrestling. It is John Orlando from the PVD Cast and Matt Talk, along with me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for watching, listening. Please like and subscribe. He and I work really hard to bring you some really good content over all of our various channels. So if you catch us, it really helps us out. And all we ask in return is a like and subscribe, indeed. So for my tag team partner and fellow non-jobber, we're the main eventers. We're the true drawing cards. Right there. Right, John? We have sold out buildings all over the world.
Top of the pyramid. That's where we are. The top of the pyramid. Remember that.
Top of the pyramid, indeed. So for John Orlando, it's me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for watching, listening. We will be back, hopefully late in the month of February, to talk about the road to WrestleMania a little bit more, as we bring you always what's going on in the world of professional wrestling and the Squared Circle right here at the State of Pro Wrestling. Ding, ding, ding. It's time for the State of Pro Wrestling, scheduled for one fall with a 60-minute time limit. And now, from parts unknown, your tag team champions of the world, John Orlando from the PVD Cast and Gerald Glassford from the Pop Culture Cosmos.